If you are watching this video, you are probably in a physics class. Let me be the first to say, welcome to physics. Physics is an amazing field of study that describes the fundamental principles that govern our universe. An understanding of physics can bring a whole new perspective on the world around us. However, there is a problem in the world of physics when it comes to transferring knowledge between teacher and student. The difficulty comes from the fact that students already have ideas of how the world works. So when students learn new principles, they have to revise or overwrite previous understanding. Let's use an analogy to illustrate this idea. Let's say that our brains are represented by a closet full of boxes. Each box in the closet represents knowledge that we have. A student in history class goes through and learns about different people and events. For each person or event, the teacher hands them a box, and they take that box and put it in the closet. The knowledge is transferred and stored. Simple enough. Now let's look at a physics class. Let's say a student learns about forces in physics. The teacher makes a box about force and hands it to the student. The student then takes it to the closet, but there's a problem. The student already has a box about force. This box was made by the student's personal experiences, observations, and inferences about how the world works. So what does the student do? Do they throw the old box out? Do they throw the new box out, or do they try to merge the two boxes? The simple analogy demonstrates the difficulty with physics. In most other classes, when a student first learns a concept, it is easy for them to accept it because they had no prior understanding of that concept. However, in physics, students already have a personal understanding of the world around them. So when a concept is learned, what does a student do? Do they throw out their prior understanding? Do they throw out their new understanding? Or do they try to merge the two ideas? I would submit, in most cases, students actually try to keep both boxes. I called this the great misunderstanding of physics. Rather than try and incorporate the concepts learned in physics class with their current understanding, students separate their understandings. They say to themselves, this is how the world works, but when I am in physics class, this is how the world works. Students may not consciously know that they are doing this. In fact, they might have good grades and think they are really understanding the concepts, but they aren't seeing its application in real-world scenarios, and so they aren't really understanding it at all. So when physics class is over, what happens? The student no longer needs that box, so they throw it out. So no new knowledge is truly transferred. So what is to be done? What is to be done about the great misunderstanding of physics? How can students really learn to understand physics and their world? I believe that it comes from responsibility from both teacher and student. Teachers can learn the common misinterpretations of their students and use demonstrations and experiments that make students question their ideologies. Even with all that a teacher can do, I feel the biggest responsibility comes from the student. They must be willing to proactively seek to refine their understanding. If a teacher presents a principle that conflicts with the student's experience, then the student needs to ask questions about it. They need to be willing to ask questions and rework examples until things make sense in their head. That is when knowledge is truly transferred, when the student can see the consistency of a principle in their own mind.